Well, Dwayne stuck to his word and didn't show up in Perth for WWE's Elimination Chamber PLE. A somewhat predictable night, but fun all the same. The main question going into the Aussie show was what would happen during the Grayson Waller effect when Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins appeared. Well, the answer to that question is not much. There was no Dwayne, there was no Roman, hell, there was no bloodline interference at all. Austin Theory welcomed us and told the Perth crowd that Vegemite sucks. I thought Theory was supposed to be the heel. I actually agree with him. He brought Grayson out to a huge pop and straight away he does a shoey. I want to see what the crack with this is. Tastes like me. Both Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes are brought out consecutively, which resulted in about 5 minutes of entrances as the two stars played with the crowd a lot. There was a fun moment with Theory, who was in the background looking bored, so he started counting with his abs. Grayson instantly turns the crowd on him by saying they all need to acknowledge the tribal chief and questions if Cody feels bad about letting us not have The Rock versus Roman Reigns. We then hear from Seth Rollins that he is merely days away from being medically cleared to wrestle. Which to me sounds like they're just doing it for story purposes, but then again, I don't think anything's been reported denying this. Cody asks if we want to know what words were shared between Dwayne and himself to explain why Cody gave up his spot and then took it back. He doesn't tell us. He then questions Dwayne's nickname of the People's Champ, saying to be the People's Champ you actually need to be around the people. Then Cody brings up The Rock slapping him at the Wrestlemania kickoff and challenges him to a one-on-one match. We later find out Dwayne will be on SmackDown this coming Friday, which will probably give us an idea where we're going for Wrestlemania. Seth then goes and tells Cody that he has his back. Austin Theory then steals The Rock's catchphrases of "it doesn't matter, finally, and if you smell," to which Cody and Seth attack him. Grayson ends up letting them and leaves, letting the baby faces stand tall. It was a good segment in regards of Seth's announcement, Cody challenging The Rock, and obviously Grayson Waller getting on the show in his home country, but it seems like we're making baby steps with Cody's story as they're trying to come up with the creative on the fly since all the changes. As long as the story ends at WrestleMania with Cody winning the title, it's all good. But welcome back, friends, I'm Toby, and today we're going to be talking about WWE's Elimination Chamber PLE from Perth, Australia. A very long but fun show with some hot moments throughout. And you can add to these hot moments by hitting the subscribe button as we work our way to 5,000 subscribers, and you all to prove to me that you don't have a small peepee. We join Michael Cole and birthday boy Corey Graves celebrating his 40th birthday for the pre-show match of Candice LeRae and home country girl Indy Hartwell against the Kabuki Warriors for the women's tag team titles. I know, a pre-show match on a big WWE event? That's really strange, but at least it got Indy on the show in front of her home country. What followed was a pretty bog-standard tag team match that was built around giving Indy the hot tag, which when it finally happened popped the crowd. Which leads me to say props to the crowd for making every single Aussie star on this show look huge. The crowd instantly turned to boos when the Kabuki Warriors got the upper hand and got the win from the Insane Elbow, retaining their titles. There was a huge chant for Hartwell post-match though, and it was well deserved. All in all, it was a pretty fun pre-show match and possibly Candice and Indy's best match on the main roster so far. We were then treated to a performance by the Midday Dancers, who didn't do much dancing, but there was a didgeridoo. How Australian of you, WWE. We began the main card with the Women's Chamber, where the winner would face the winner of Rhea Ripley and Nia Jax at WrestleMania. Raquel, Bianca, Liv and Tiffany all entered the pods as Becky and Naomi started the match. They also changed Tiffany's song, which broke my heart. Naomi and Becky had a great start to the match, having a battle of one-upsmanship between each other, which led to a massive surprise of "We Want Tiffy" chants bellowing around the stadium. She's becoming a huge star fast and it's well deserved. Stratton then enters the ring to a huge pop and goes to town on Becky and Naomi until Liv Morgan enters the match. This led to the first elimination as Naomi hits a blockbuster onto Liv after diving off the top of the pod. Tiffy then uses this to her advantage and pins and eliminates Naomi. Raquel enters next and just manhandles Becky. Get it? Tiffy, Becky and Liv all work together to eliminate Raquel, but she kicks out with the three of them pinning her at once. Bianca finally enters the match and runs through everyone like a bull in a china shop. Liv hits a seated senton on Raquel from the top of a pod. Tiffany then gets her big moment by hitting a huge swanton bomb off the pod onto Raquel, Bianca and Becky. This leads to Liv eliminating Stratton to a huge boo from the crowd. I will always say Tiffany Stratton deserves everything in this company, but I couldn't get over how quickly she's got over. Hell, she even got the crowd turning on on Liv Morgan. Raquel hits a double Tijuana bomb on Becky and Liv, to which Bianca hits her with a KOD and Raquel is eliminated. We then get to see a great back and forth triple threat between Becky, Liv and Belair, which is given some time. Bianca then gets Becky into a KOD, but Becky avoids it, resulting in Liv rolling up Belair for a 3, eliminating her. Becky then instantly hits Liv with the manhandle slam for victory, sending her to WrestleMania. This was a really solid chamber match, somewhat tainted by the fact we all knew who the winner was, but Tiffany Stratton ended up being the MVP. It was then time for the tag title match between Judgment Day and challengers Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate. Nope, I'm not saying the team name. You can't make me. Dirty Dom came out with Priest and Balor and took the mic from Mike Rome's hands. He tried bigging up his friends, but the crowd of course booed so loud we couldn't hear him. Now, I did music technology and know exactly how sound works. I also know when they turn down a microphone. The match got underway with both Tyler and Pete out wrestling Finn Balor. The crowd then starts chanting Dom's a wanker. I thought this was pretty rude because what Dom does in his free time is none of our business. We don't kink shame here. The British boys continue to dominate Balor until Priest came in to level the playing field. The match then turned into a very fast-paced back and forth affair. Judgment Day showing their strength and Pete and Tyler showing their speed and technical skill. Bate hits a brilliant airplane spin on Priest, which seems to go on forever. Pete and Tyler hit a Birminghammer on Priest. The name of this move just gets me. After a double South of Heavens, both Dunne and Bate, Balor hits the coup de grace on Pete for the win. I know this rundown was very brief, but all my notes were just, this is mint, this is mint, this is mint. So I think that means the match was very, very good and I highly recommend it. It was definitely the best match on the card. We then saw the Grayson Waller segment with Cody and Seth. Then it was time for the men's chamber match. We began with Drew and LA Knight in the ring, but before we get to the action, look how Kevin Owens reacted to Logan Paul. Acting like a right dingo there. The match started with some nice back and forth between Knight and Drew, with the crowd chanting CM Punk when McIntyre got the upper hand. This led to Kevin Owens entering the match. Lashley then enters the match and immediately ends up in a war with Drew, calling back to the rivalry a few years ago. Orton then enters and we are instantly left worried as he hits his DDT to Owens on the outside and looks like he injures his back. Owens then waits by Logan's pod for him to enter and leathers him inside of the pod. Lashley then gets involved, spearing Logan into another pod. Drew then lays out Lashley with multiple claymores and eliminates him. Knight then takes control of Drew and hits a BFT, only for AJ Styles to come running into the ring whilst Lashley is leaving the cage and attacks Knight with a chair. Drew then pins Knight to eliminate him. Well, I think we're guaranteed LA Knight versus AJ Styles at Mania now. Owens and Logan Paul continue to brawl, resulting in Kevin hitting a stunner on the social media star, but Orton catches Owens out with an RKO and pins him. Drew and Randy then face off, calling back to their previous rivalry, but with roles reversed this time. Logan then hits a crossbody to Drew from the top of the pod. I swear these viral moments that Logan keeps going for each match are just getting worse every time. Paul then gets his brass knuckles out, but before he can do anything, Orton appears out of nowhere and hits him with an RKO, eliminating him. Drew and Randy then trade blows, with the latter's early injury starting to show more signs. McIntyre lines up a claymore, but Orton drops like a sack of potatoes, only to rise up like a phoenix and hit an RKO on Drew. Out of nowhere, Logan comes and hits Orton in the face with the brass knuckles, causing Drew to pin him and win the match, taking him to WrestleMania to face Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship. I'm not going to say this chamber match was great, because it wasn't, but we do potentially have 3 Mania matches being set up just from this match alone, so he gets a thumbs up there. Triple H then comes to the ring to thank the crowd and announce the attendance of 52,590, so probably 52,000 then. Then it was time for the main event as Rhea Ripley put her women's title on the line against Nia Jax. And this match was fine, I guess. It was nothing more than a glorified TV match. It followed the standard formula of the giant heel dominating the babyface until they come back with an underdog push. The real highlight of this match was the reception to Rhea Ripley. If you don't think she's a megastar now, hell, this crowd proved you wrong. It was Australia's equivalent of Bad Bunny in Puerto Rico. Michael Cole and Corey helped Rhea's incredible entrance by not uttering a single word. There were some interesting moments in the match, such as Rhea hitting multiple springboard Hurricane Ranas and Rhea kicking out the Annihilator. Nia also hit Rhea with a Samoan drop onto the announcer's table. It didn't break. So she climbed onto a chair and dived onto Rhea, making the table go down. In the end, Rhea hit the riptide on Nia for the win, retaining her title and heading to Wrestlemania to face Becky Lynch. Like I said earlier, it was nothing more than a glorified TV match, but it made perfect sense why it was in the main event. And that will do it for my review of Elimination Chamber 2024 from Perth, Australia. A good show, rather long, but exceptionally predictable. What are your thoughts on Elimination Chamber? Please leave them down in the comments below, and remember to hit a like and subscribe to the channel because, you know, small PP. I've been Toby, this has been the main event, and I'll see you soon.